The leap from working to retirement is a massive one. Now, if someone had said that to me 10 years ago while I was still deep in my corporate job, I'd have said, are you kidding me? I'd retire tomorrow if I could. But I tell you now, that's total bravado. 4 years into retirement now, I know it isn't quite as straightforward as it seems. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you now to fantasize about retirement. Not just any retirement. Fantasize about yours and be realistic. Really think it through. And when you do that, you'll start doubting yourself. You'll start feeling like retirement is just so final. But there are 3 things I've realised since I retired that have shown me that retirement is anything but final. I'm living the best years of my life. And who knows, if I could share what I know now with me of 10 years ago, where I'd be now, I might have retired earlier, or at least done so with a lot more confidence. Before I go any further, a couple of points of order here. First of all, I'm in Cork in Ireland at the moment. This is our Airbnb. If you hear every now and again ravens shouting at me, they seem to be not really into this whole retirement stuff. So there will be ravens on this video shouting. Secondly, I'd like to thank everybody that's replied in comments to videos that I've made recently. I've not had a chance to get to any of those, mainly because Sarah and I are travelling so fast at the moment. But also, I get so many scam messages in our comments. I spend more time managing those to ensure that none of you get scammed by anyone than I ever get a chance to actually reply to comments. But rest assured, I do look at every comment and take many of them on board when you give me advice. So thank you so much for doing that. Also, just note, what I'm giving you isn't financial advice. I'm me, you're you. You've got to do your own research and do your own thing. But let's get straight into it. So retirement, it can infer so many negative connotations, such as not earning ever again, being able to get a bus ticket that's cheaper than anyone else can get, being at one with daytime TV, but more importantly, becoming old and irrelevant. And for everything I spout now about the wonders of early retirement, these kind of things are the things that really populated my mind those 10 years ago, really about being irrelevant and it being the end of everything. You retire and then you just, I don't know, curl up and die is what I used to think. So here are the 3 things that I wish I'd known before I retired, and it would have prepared me so much better for our retirement. Firstly, in retirement, you get more time, and with more time, you get more options. I'm going to take you on a bit of a flight of fancy now and see how you feel about what I'm about to say. First of all, did you know that 55% of people in the UK still live within 15 miles of where they were born? And that number is borne out, I think it's slightly higher in the US, in fact. And that isn't surprising, really. It points to our ancestors and how we had more multi-generational housing. And, you know, you'd have grandparents, parents, children, all within the same household. That makes perfect sense and is very wholesome, if you ask me. And it's something that, I don't know, I probably have a bit of a regret from my younger days, because from the moment I was born to the age of 16, I lived in 5 different houses. My parents moved house a lot, and every time I moved was to a totally new area. So the one thing I've missed out on is having kind of friends that I've known since school. Now, I guess I've got one, and I see him at best once a year. So that's something that I'm not happy about. But let's see how this could change your thinking a little bit. If you are in that 55% of living within 50 miles of where you were born, what benefits could you gain by living somewhere new? And I know we often have to stay in the same place for employment. You can't just decide to build a career with a company and then zip off the other side of the country or the other side of the world. I totally get that. But when you've retired, there is no boss. You've got the world at your feet. I'm going to be making a video, I'm working on it at the moment, about the concept of geo-arbitrage, which is basically a process whereby you earn money in higher cost of living locations or higher paid jobs, and then spend your time and spend your money in lower cost of living locations, if that's something you're interested in, because that's something that me and my wife Sarah have done for the last 4 years. then make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already and just ring that bell so when that video drops, you know it's going to be there. I told you about the ravens. There's 2 of them shouting at me in a minute. I used to think, those 10 years ago, I used to think that world travel was only for the rich, for the super rich. But what I've learned is that you can actually find that life is cheaper by moving than it is keeping still, which doesn't seem to make much sense. But watch that video when it comes out and you'll find it does make sense. I've seen a lot of comments recently, people asking whether me and Sarah have got kids, and we don't. And I realise that that gives us more flexibility than people who do have kids. But Sarah does still have her mother around. Her mum's 90 now, and we have to say categorically that we spend more quality time with Sarah's mum now than we ever did when we were working. When we were working, we were guilty, you may do the same thing, of when we had all 4 of our parents, that at weekends, odd weekends, we go and see our parents and we call it going for the weekend. But actually, we probably go down on Saturday and then leave dead early Sunday morning because we've got to get back and do all the chores at home before returning to work on Monday. But now, for Sarah and I, we ensure that we spend weeks with Sarah's mum every year. When I say spend, I mean really spending time with her, talking to her. That's the thing that she misses, having people around. We have conversations, we make her laugh, and we do jobs for her. We are so much more helpful and useful to Sarah's mum now than we ever were when we were working. Not only that, wherever we are in the world, Sarah speaks to her mum every single day. I find that frustrating because we have to plan our day around it, but I see why Sarah wants to do that. And I think it's lovely. She's bringing her mum on this journey around the world with us. And she's getting all these wonderful stories of the things that we're seeing and doing every day. And it's a lovely thing to be able to do, to be honest. And just to be clear, so I'm saying that in this modern world of communication, there's so many more opportunities that you have. Now, I know it's not that easy for everybody. We've got friends that are at home looking after their parents. Their parents aren't in a healthy condition, and they're putting that work in now. What I can say about the people that we know that are doing that, they do have a plan to travel at some time in the future, but they've got challenges now that they have to work through, and we totally get that. This is just a moment in time for them. Also, we get comments from friends and also in our videos where people say, yeah, you haven't got kids, we've got adult children, and we feel, obliged to live close to our adult children. Then we have other friends who do exactly the same as we do and travel the world full time. And they say it's given the relationship with their kids such a richer, more fun encounter, because what they do is their adult children are seeking out where their parents are around the world, turning up on their doorstep, and they're being able to show them new, interesting and fun places. So you've got to have some balance, and it's worth investigating what the options really are for you. And no, I do know it's horses for courses. Travel may not be your thing. You may have other dreams that you want to pursue, but I'll come on to that shortly. Next, there's health. I've spent a lot of time in the last few videos talking about health in retirement and that we don't have as much time on this planet as we'd like to think we do. But it's a simple fact that the younger you are, the fitter you are, and the more able you are to pursue your various dreams, whatever they may be. There are outliers, of course. We know people in their 70s who are travelling full time and doing what they want to do. And there was also this guy that we spoke to in this video, which I'd really highly recommend you watch. It's very inspiring, who's travelling and really adventuring late in his life. He can hardly see, he can hardly hear, but he's having a fantastic time. So if you have dreams and plans, I'd recommend not putting them off, doing them as early as you possibly can. Now, I remember my dad always had a dream when he retired. He retired early because of health, but he always had a dream of painting and of writing his memoirs. And there's nothing I'd want more than to be able to have those memoirs now he's no longer with us, that I could turn to, and it would bring me closer to him. And unfortunately, he only ever wrote a couple of chapters, and it's really sad because he had a wicked sense of humour and a really good way of writing. It would have been such a wonderful thing for us to have. And also, with regard to the painting, when he was a younger man, he was a real sketch artist. He could sketch anything fantastic. So I really wanted him to paint. I lost count of the number of painting sets that I bought him when he was older. And I even commissioned him to paint for Sarah and I. We had an idea of something we specifically wanted. I'd always said to him to paint it, and he said he would, and I'd buy him the paint to do it. And he always would do it, but never got around to it. Now, if he had done it, that painting would probably be my most treasured possession in the world. And I don't have it because he didn't pursue his dream of painting or his dream of writing his memoirs. So I spoke of those outliers. Now Sarah and I, we travel full time and have done for 4 years. We are squeezing as much juice out of this life as we possibly can because we don't know whether we're going to be outliers. We don't know whether we can only travel for now and something really bad happens to our health next year that's affecting us. So we want to do what we want to do now. Live our dreams. And as I say, your dream is likely not travel. You've probably got other dreams that you're harbouring for when you retire. What are they? Write them down and bring them closer, and don't let go of them. Make it something that you must do, not something that you hope to do. And then there's the stress of work. If you're still working at the moment while you're watching this video, you might actually be supposed to be working, but you're watching this video instead. But if you're working, you have stress. Now, there may be someone watching this who's talking to their screen saying, I don't have stress. I love my job. I'm telling you now, you have stress. I don't care whether you're a high-powered business owner or whether you flip burgers at McDonald's. There is stress in all work. It might be the stress of achievement. How many overachievers do you know? You see them on TV all the time. They've achieved so much and they've earned so much, but they can't stop. They've got this drive to do more and more. They don't know when to give up. Incidentally, don't categorise me as one of those overachievers. Far from it. I knew exactly when to give up, and I gave up slightly before when I should have done, really, financially. But it's all paying off. It's all working out okay. You know, alternatively, you could be one of those business owners and you're struggling to make ends meet. You know, we've just got through the whole COVID thing and businesses are now hopefully back on their feet, but it's constantly a struggle. Or you've got mouths to feed, you've got people working for you. That must be one of the biggest stresses ever. Or you could be flipping burgers at McDonald's. Your stress then is highly likely to be your boss, I would imagine. And then you're going to have the stress of making ends meet and just being able to pay your bills every month. There is real stress there. I was watching a video yesterday on YouTube of someone who was talking about the concept of micro stresses. Now, these are things that would be things like you're due in a meeting, but the current meeting you're in is overrunning, meaning that you're going to be late for that meeting. You know that everyone's late for meetings at work, but you don't enjoy doing that. Or you were hoping after the meeting you're in to get back to your desk and just collect your thoughts before going into the next meeting, but you haven't got time to do that. That could be a micro stress. Or you've got a problem with your car, you need to get it fixed, but you've got customers to service and you really can't take any time off for the next week to get it fixed, and you don't know whether it's going to enable you to get home from work even, or whether it's going to start in the morning to get you back in the office. Or it could just be you haven't done the washing. You need to get the washing done. Otherwise, you got nothing to wear to work tomorrow. All of these are micro stresses and all of them add up. Everybody has these things. I've got micro stresses. My micro stress today has been those ravens, and the sun was piercing earlier on and I couldn't make a video. Oh, bloody sun. It's no big deal, but it's all a micro stress. But when you're retired, you reduce the number of them and they become a lot more manageable. And you know, when I talk to friends now that I used to work with, they're still working, and we have conversations, and I ask them things that are going on in the office, and they explain it all to me very nonchalantly. When they're explaining it, I'm getting a little bit stressed. For them, they've normalised the stress they're dealing with, and I can't wait till they retire and I can start to have these conversations with them and just realise how tough it was. In fact, one of my very best friends has retired just a month or so ago. I'm looking forward to seeing her next time we're in the UK, or actually I think we're going to be seeing her in the US, but next time we see her, so that I can talk to her about how things feel now that she's retired. I might be able to get her on video talking about that. Let me know if you'd like to see that. That might be interesting. She'll be watching this video, so could you contact me separately and let me know whether you'd be interested in being interviewed for a video about the initial phase of early retirement? I think people might want to see that. I said at the start of this video that there's one thing that is keeping people working longer than they need to. And this is probably the biggest thing. And I'd love to know in the comments whether this is something that you're suffering with. When you retire, it can feel like you're jumping out of a plane with a parachute on, doing your first ever solo parachute jump. Now, when you're in the plane, it's all good. You've got your pilot up front. He knows how to fly a plane. You haven't got to worry about that. He's got that covered. You've got your fellow parachutists. Oh, I've seen the videos. They're all there doing thumbs up to each other. Everyone's saying everything's going to be good in the world. You've got no worries. You're all in it together. You've all got a single purpose and it's all good. And then you jump. You rip the cord. If the parachute opens, you can relax. You can float down. You can enjoy the view and nicely land on terra firma. In retirement, you've handed your notice in at work and you're doing this thing. You pull the cord, everything opens, your retirement is exactly how you planned, everything's good. But what if you pull the cord and it doesn't work? Well, with a parachute coming out of a plane, you do get to your destination. You just get there a lot faster and with a little bit more pain, I think. And this is the same feeling about retirement. What if I've only got one retirement? I pull the cord. I don't know where I've never jumped out of a plane. I'm never doing anything so ridiculous. But you pull the cord. It's there probably. You pull the cord. The parachute doesn't open. The plans you had for your retirement have gone wrong. I've got great news for you. You've got more than one parachute. You've got multiple parachutes because you are resourceful. The one thing holding us back is fear. Fear that we're not good enough. We're not clever enough to work stuff out if things don't work out in retirement. But you've got through where you are now up to the state of retirement and you've always been resourceful. Has every job gone the way you wanted? Probably not. Has everything gone the way you wanted? No, that's impossible. And it's the same in retirement, but you are resourceful and you will find a way. And so retirement isn't the end. Retirement isn't about a bus pass. It's not about getting at one with daytime TV. It's about living your dreams. Will you just do me a favour? Don't put it off too long. Make your dreams come true. I'll see you next time.